So great to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books. And what we've got today, if you can believe it, is the very last update for Book of the Month and Aardvark for 2025. We're on to December's Book of the Month and Aardvark offerings for 2025. It's been a crazy year, I'm going to say. So just kind of my personal feeling of both book boxes, okay? So I have been with Book of the Month now for about 14 months, in around there. And in the 14 months, I think I've skipped a total of 3 months. And in a lot of cases, my book boxes have been full. And I recently hit my 12 month in a row, well, that, where I have now moved on to the next level. So I get 5 books in total, which I did not fill it this past month, but I did take 4, which we will go over. I think it's fantastic. I think their pricing is fantastic. I think the quality of the books is fantastic. I think that it's great that these book boxes, including Aardvark, are now offering special editions, signed editions. So I think what the Book of the Month and Aardvark both are trying to do is they're trying to offer those little extras, which again they've offered this month, and I will explain it when we go through Book of the Month and Aardvark. They've both got a special offering. I think it's because it puts them in a category all on their own, where they're offering fantastic books every month, and they're giving you a little bit something extra with each of the offerings each month, and it makes it more affordable than these other book boxes. In perfect honesty, like the only other subscription that I have is the science fiction and fantasy subscription from Broken Binding, and it is very expensive once I factor in exchange rate, shipping, everything like that. But the nice thing is that I have skips in between. So my plan is to kind of skip enough of the ones that I know I'm probably not going to be interested in, and just order the ones that I know I can afford to order. So that is the only book subscription I belong to other than Aardvark and Book of the Month. And I can honestly say that my experience has been fantastic. Now with Aardvark, it's been a little bit different in that I think I've had my subscription about 6 months now with Aardvark. And I believe I have skipped 1 month where there just wasn't anything I was interested in. But in most cases, including this month, I think, I'm pretty sure I had a full box again. Now, a full box in Aardvark is your main book in 3 books, or is it just 3 books? I think it's just 3 books. Yes, I think it's a 3-book maximum that you can order, which kind of sucks maybe sometimes because their offerings, like you can look across the board and go, oh my God, I want all of them. But I typically know that a lot of times, if they're not special editions or the fancier ones, like some of the thrillers and that sort of thing, sometimes you can get them later. Not always with either, because they do sell out. So my advice is always, give them a try. For both of them. Now, I do have links below. Now, I don't get anything from them. Book of the Month is an affiliate link. So if you join, I get a free credit. That's it. I don't get anything else from them. So, but to me, that's more than enough. And I appreciate that you used my affiliate link to join. But the thing with both Book of the Month and Aardvark is you can skip them at any time. Now what happens is your payment for that month will come out, okay? And you'll get your credit for it. Then you skip, and then the next month they don't take a payment from you. So your credit sits in there until you use it. So you could skip multiple months in a row and your credit will still sit in there for you to use. So I think that that is actually a fantastic way to do this, and that you know your payments only kind of come out once, and if you don't like the books in the next coming few months, you don't order from them. You have nothing to lose to maintain your subscription, is what I'm basically saying. And I think they're both well worth it if you're an avid reader. If you're an occasional reader, you might not be interested in joining something like that. But yeah, if you're an avid reader, then I would encourage. And the thing is, you're getting beautiful hardback books from both companies. Okay, so that is my spiel about how fantastic I think both these companies are. So now we're going to get on to what both these two companies have offered for the last month of 2025. So let's do Book of the Month first. All right, so Book of the Month this month, they have 6 books in total that they're offering, and they have, I believe it's 2 add-ons. So we're going to go over each of these. So the first one that they have is called Before I Forget, and it is contemporary fiction, and I will put the covers up on one of the 2 sides. I never know which one. Like, I'll point to one and I always put it on the other one, but the covers are going to go up for you. Okay. So again, Before I Forget, from Tory, Henwood, Hoen. I think that's how the last name is pronounced. If it's not, I apologize. And the quick take is her father's losing his memory, but she'll have to face her own in this poignant story of hope, love, and clairvoyance. So it is emotional family drama, quirky, and nature. That's what they say under Good to Know. And then why they chose it. So I do the why they chose it instead of the synopses, because I think this is just more fun and it doesn't give that much away, right? Okay, so 3 points on why they chose it. We were moved by this realistic exploration of a father-daughter relationship that honors how family dynamics morph during adulthood. This emotional story about Alzheimer's reminded us to search for silver linings, little joys, and humor, even and especially during difficult moments. This book is full of small-town charm with a cozy cast of characters that made us never want to leave Catwood Pond. So it sounds like a very emotional kind of read. Contemporary fiction is not something that I would choose, so I did not pick this one. But I do actually think it sounds really good, and it doesn't have any trigger warnings or anything like that. But obviously, if Alzheimer's and dementia and that sort of thing bothers you, then obviously you wouldn't pick this one up. But okay, so next one is a debut thriller called Best Offer Wins from Marisa Kashino. And this was actually one that I featured in I think it was my December releases. So it is a quick take. When one woman's obsession with finding her dream home goes too far, she'll take house hunting to a whole new level. It's a fast read, movie-ish, unlikable narrator, and snarky. So I'm just going to say I ordered this one. Okay. I've wanted this since I featured it. I thought I'm going to wait and see if one of the book boxes has this one, because it sounds really good to me. So why they chose it. The protagonist in this book is delightfully diabolical, with an unhinged mentality that left us gasping as we read. This is a unique take on the thriller genre, using unpredictable plot points and timely themes to transform the drama of house hunting into a shocking crime scene. For better or worse, we might have resonated with the protagonist's use of dark humor and snark to deflect her increasingly desperate ambitions and failures. Yeah. I can't say enough. So it does have a content warning. This book contains mentions of sexual assault. So that is the content warning for that one. But oh my God, I thought this sounded so good. So I did put this in my box. The next one is one that I jumped for joy when I saw this available because I wanted this one. I read this as an arc, enjoyed the arc, but it was an uncorrected arc. So I want to, whenever I enjoy a book and it's an uncorrected arc, I always want to read the finished product because to me it always is so much better. So this is We Who Will Die. It's a fantasy. It is a limited edition early release, so it does have sprayed edges on it. And the quick take is, to survive in this epic arena, a hero must face bloodthirsty vampires, gladiator villains, and her own broken heart. And that sums it up perfectly for me. It's 400 plus pages, first in a series, salacious romantasy. Now, I'm going to say it says romantasy, but I felt the romance was a backplot to the actual story. I'm just going to say that because I did read it already, so I can say it confidently. This original fantasy novel features history with a twist, taking Roman Empire gladiator battles to another level with vampires and magic. And that totally sums it up. This is not your typical second chance romance. From secret trysts to stolen glances, the characters in this book share more than just a complicated past. So yes, there is a past between the female main character and one of the Roman vampires. Okay? They have a past. Not a romantic past, but they have a past. Okay? The heroine is deeply compelling with natural wit that keeps her ahead of her rivals and a strong moral compass urging her to protect those she loves. And that actually sums up how the story starts. So, oh my gosh, it was just so good. So there is no content warnings on that. It just is, a really good fantasy romance. So the fantasy part comes first, and then the romance part. I'm just making sure you guys realize that, because some people don't actually like that in their books. They want a heavier romantic plot. Like another good recent example that I did read was Shield of Sparrows. And in Shield of Sparrows, the romance is actually a minor plot to me of what is actually transpiring in that book. So I think people get disappointed if there's not more romance. So I just wanted to state that with this one. Of course, I ordered this one, 100%. Next one is, and if I had known they were going to offer this, I probably wouldn't have bought it already, but I did buy the paperback version with the pretty sprayed edges and everything like that, is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, which everybody knows is a romance. It's a Christmas romance, and this is a repeat author for Book of the Month, which I think is fantastic. So I didn't order it, but I would have if I hadn't already bought it. It says, she's been nothing but nice this holiday season, so why is the ghost of Christmas past here to haunt her? And that is it. He's a ghost, she's human. That's the story. It's 400 plus pages, magical, salacious, and a holiday. Why we chose it. From ice skating dates to Christmas pajamas, the holiday spirit is alive in these pages, making it perfect, cozy winter read. This romance seamlessly blends, I can't speak this morning, seamlessly blends the wit and emotion of a great rom-com with magical plotline, resulting in a refreshing and creative love story. We were charmed by the grumpy sunshine dynamic between a delightfully cheerful antique shop owner and a grinchy, undead Irish fisherman. So cute. Such a great plot. Yeah. So this one does not have any content warnings. I don't think a book like that would, but there's that one. I think that's another great choice. Then we have Dark Sisters by Kristi DeMeester, and this is a horror. And I did add this one to my box. This was another one that I featured in my early releases and video, I think, for December. And I was very interested in this one. It says, not for the faint of heart. This book is gruesome. It's a horror, so of course it is. 3 centuries of women and one twisted lineage. How many generations of witches does it take to stop a family curse? So multiple viewpoints, LGBTQ plus themes, nonlinear timeline, and witchy. So why they chose it: with atmospheric, lyrical, and eerie prose, this book makes for a distinctly haunting reading experience with strong witchy vibes. Weaving through 3 centuries, this is one of those rare historical fiction novels where we truly couldn't pick a favorite time period. Centering strong protagonists who aren't afraid to tap into a little female rage, this story hit the sweet spot of entertaining and empowering. And there are no content warnings for that one. Just, yeah. So that one is in my box as well. Very much looking forward to it. And the last main entry is a historical fiction, which is a yearly look back. It is Buckeye from Patrick Ryan, and is our choice changes the fate of 2 families in this sweeping tale of war, heartache, and legacy. It is 400 plus pages, multiple viewpoints, centers on war and infidelity. Each December, we highlight a book that was published earlier in the year that we didn't previously feature. This year, we knew it had to be Buckeye. By zooming in on the Ohio home front during World War II, this book uses a small town slice of life lens to tell a universally resonant and transportive story. Its poignant page-turning prose shines like a classic literature. Reading this book felt like reading a novel that had already stood the test of time. From adultery to spiritualism, we were fascinated by the daring, unique plot lines that surrounded these complex and original characters. So, no content warnings about that, but it certainly sounds like an interesting drama, along with being historical fiction because it's in during World War II. Okay, so that's it for the regular selections, but then the add-on selections, there are 2 of them. And the first one is a romance, and it's called The Wicked, and it's a debut by Rebecca Johnpee. Its quick take is it's mobsters, mafia, and messy love affairs collide in this pulpy, dark romance. It's a dark romance, which I don't know that they feature that many dark romances, So that's kind of interesting, right? Yeah, so I'm going to wait to see what other people think of it, but might pick it up later on. Not for the faint of heart, this book is gruesome. So it's 400 plus pages, enemies to lovers, multiple viewpoints, and extra spicy, which of course it would be because it's a dark romance, right? It just has content warnings. This book contains mentions of domestic abuse, sexual assault, child abuse, and self-harm. So they don't have any points on why they chose it because they don't do that with the extras, but there you go on that one. And then the next one is one I did put in my box because I have the first one. And this is The Rebel and the Rose, a paranormal romance by Catherine Doyle. This is definitely kind of like a fantasy romance. Welcome back to the city of Phantom, where love, magic, and political intrigue collide in this spellbinding sequel. It's 400 plus pages, the second book in the series, multiple viewpoints, enemies to lovers. So the first book was The Dagger in the Flame, I think, and I read that. thoroughly enjoyed it. So I cannot read anything in the synopsis on this one because could give it away. We don't want to give it away. But yes, this is the second book in the series, and it sounds like it's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to read it. I did include it in my box. So just as a summary on what I included in my box was, hang on one second, I'm just pulling it up here. We Who Will Die, special edition. Best Offer Wins, which is a thriller. Dark Sisters, which is a horror. And The Rebel and the Rose, which is fantasy romance. So those are the 4 that I have included. So that ends everything for Book of the Month. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Aardvark. So Aardvark has, as usual, 6 great selections for you to choose from. And I have picked 3 of them. As usual, this is a particularly wide range of unusual books, I think. Sometimes I find their selections can be a little bit more mainstream, like, was it last month they had Bride and Mate, I think? And then, you know, like one month they had Drop of Corruption and they offered The Tainted Cup along with it. So sometimes they can be a bit more of a mainstream and large type print. These ones seem much more almost feeling like indie focused, almost, okay? And I'm going to apologize if the light keeps going darker and lighter. I've got myself kind of faced a little bit to the window because it is a bit of a dull day, but the sun decided to come out right this very instant. So it's like, I can't win one way or the other. Because if it's really sunny, I try to turn myself a little bit more that way and then add a little extra light. But if it's not sunny, then if I turn more towards the window, then I get kind of a good light. I know you didn't really want to know that, but I just thought I'd mention it. I will move on with the most important part. So we're going to go through these books one by one. The first one, now I'm going to say I almost ordered this one, but it kind of creeped me out a little bit, you know? So it's one of those ones that it's like, I'll hold off and wait and see what their selections are like in January. And then if I see people have ordered this and maybe read it, because I have not seen anybody mention this one, but even the cover is creepy. And it is Itch, and it's by Gemma Amor. And I'm going to pop the cover up again, cover side. And it is, even the cover is creepy, okay? And it is horror, LGBTQIA, includes a dog. I don't even know how it includes a dog, but it says it includes a dog. And it is an early release, okay? So the synopsis, I'm just going to read just a couple paragraphs on all these synopses for you because they don't do like Book of the Month where they say why they selected it. Just synopsis. Something moves on the forest floor. Josie is at rock bottom, burned out, heartbroken, and recovering from an abusive relationship. She lives a haunted existence after returning to her isolated hometown on the edge of the forest of Dean. But the tall, dense pines are not the only things casting shadows across her skin. Josie's hopes of a fresh start are horribly derailed when she stumbles across a dead woman's decaying, ant-infested body in the woods. That's all I'm going to read. I'm not going to read any more than that. Just look at the cover, whichever side. Okay. Sounds super creepy. Now, does it have any content warnings? Yes, content warnings for sexual assault, domestic abuse, and self-harm, which I think you kind of get that vibe just even based on what I read for you. So that's the first book. The next book is another early release, and it is a debut fantasy romance novel that is historical fiction called The Once and Future Queen by Paula Lafferty. And the synopsis is Outlander meets The Princess Bride plus Camelot in a fresh, big-hearted feminist time-slip adventure, reimagining the epic saga of King Arthur as told from the perspective of his spunky and surprising queen, Vera, complete with time travel and good running shoes. So I thought this sounded a little cozy, but fun, a little bit current, a little bit past. I don't particularly care personally for like the whole Outlander, Camelot, like that doesn't interest me in the least. But I know a lot of people would love something like this, so I thought this would be really great. Now, I'm just going to read a little bit about Vera, who is the main character, female main character. She's 22 years old. 22-year-old Vera is at a crossroads, waiting tables, grieving her previous relationships, and jogging aimlessly each morning as if toward an uncertain future. Then an odd man shows up at her workplace, insisting that she was once the legendary Queen Guinevere of Camelot. So I'll leave that there. I think that says a lot. And then it has one content warning, says attempted sexual assault. So, but yeah, it's 512 pages. So it is a fairly lengthy book, pretty typical for a fantasy, if you ask me. But yeah. Okay, so the next one, which is one that I did order. I think I did. Let me just double check and make sure. Yes, I did order this one. It is Who Wants to Live Forever? And it's by Hanna Thomas Uose. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that the right way. I probably should have looked up how to pronounce it, which I usually like to try to do, but dummy forgot to do that. But unusual last name. And this is a debut novel, sci-fi romance. Which is why I grabbed it, because sci-fi and romance, typically you don't read them together that often. I thought this sounded really, really great. So it says, the title is currently published in the UK only. The Aardvark edition represents the first North American print run, which I thought was really interesting. It says, what happens to loving each other forever when your soulmate decides living forever is more important? Yuki and Sam are soulmates. They are destined to spend the rest of their lives together. They're supposed to love one another forever. But when a miracle drug is created which can extend a human's life indefinitely, Sam decides to live forever rather than love Yuki forever. So I thought that was interesting. One of the sneak peeks is, it says Tokyo 2039. So I just thought I would put that in there because I thought that sounded really, everything about it sounds super interesting to me. Okay, so the next one is Canticle by Janet Rich Edwards. And this, again, is a debut novel. Historical fiction, includes a cat, and it is coming of age. It says, set in 13th century Brugge, this debut novel follows a young woman's exploration of faith, agency, and love among a community of fiercely independent women. So the main character, she is 16 years old, and it says she is serious, stubborn, and prone to religious visions. She and her only friend, a young scholar, have been learning Latin together in secret, but just as she thinks their connection might become something more, he abandons her for the monastery. When her family falls on hard financial times, her father promises her in marriage to the unctuous head of the Weavers Guild, and in desperation she runs away from home, eventually finding shelter within a community of religious women who do not answer to the church. And not something I would have ordered, but it certainly sounds like it's an interesting story, and I could understand why a lot of people would like this, especially like the whole coming of age and historical. And it certainly sounds like she's sort of bucking establishment. Clearly, sounds like it could be good. This one here is one I have ordered, and it is a hindsight 2025 choice. It is called Victorian Psycho by Virginia Feito, and it is movie, TV coming, gothic, satirical comedy, horror, historical fiction. Now, yes, this is historical fiction, which isn't typically my top cup of tea, but it's horror, which I have no problem over. So this is a signed copies. I ordered it as a signed copy, and it says signed copies are still available. Please order immediately or refresh the app before ordering. So they're still available upon this reading to you. I'm reading this on December 1st. This is going to go up on my channel in 2 days. So the 3rd of December. They might still be available. This title is Aardvark's Hindsight 2025 pick, meaning a title we wish we'd carried from earlier in the year. Not sure when this one came out, but definitely earlier in the year. From the acclaimed author of Mrs. March comes the riveting tale of a bloodthirsty governess who learns the true meaning of vengeance. That's all I'm going to read, because that says a lot. Content warnings. Now, I almost didn't pull the trigger on this because the one content warning is cannibalism. Doesn't typically appeal to me, but you know, child death, another one that I kind of shy away from a little bit, and animal death, again, another one I kind of shy away from a little bit, but I thought the whole story still sounded extremely unique and interesting. So I did order this one. I might be sorry that I ordered it, but I did order it. Yeah. I will let you know once I read it, because I'm going to give my review, and I'll let you know if it creeped me the hell out. Yeah. And the very last one that they have is a romance, which includes a dog, and it is a holiday romance, and I did order this one. It says Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. A sentimental advertising creative and a blunt, no-nonsense bar owner find a second chance at love while binge-watching iconic holiday movies in this poignant and heartwarming romance from the author of Charm City Rocks and All Together Now. I'm not going to read too much more of it, but let's just say the two of them have both lost their spouses. So this is kind of about partly that, and I know that at least the female main character, she has children. So don't know if he does, but she has children. So, and it says that the spice level is low, so it's a 1 out of 5. So very minimal, probably just a little bit of packing. That's it. And clearly there are no content warnings for this one. I just loved the sound of this book so much. And I like to pick up. Now, the other thing, forgot to mention, Victorian Psycho also happens around the holidays. So that was why I picked them up, because I was like, I love anything that centers around Christmas. I will save up for next Christmas, because Christmas, like this Christmas, like for December, this December, I have picked my own TBR. I did not do the game, because I had my Christmas books and I wanted to read my Christmas books. And so these ones will go in my collection for next December. So yeah. Super excited to get those. So that is it for all of our selections for both Book of the Month and Aardvark. I'd love to know what you have decided to pick up, if anything, from either of these two boxes, what you're looking forward to. Like, I already know a few of my YouTuber friends are looking forward to We Who Shall Die. Yeah, from book of the month, fantasy romance I mentioned. So there are a lot of people looking forward to certain books. And I'd love to know if there's anything on this list that I haven't picked, especially because I always love to hear people's opinions on things I didn't choose, because these are things that sometimes I'll reconsider and go back and put in a box if I don't have a full box on another month. So yeah, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, that's the end of it. It's always a little bit of a shorter video, but it's always a good one, right? And we will see you in the next video, which, yeah, I'm not really sure what that's going to be. I've got a few surprises in December.